Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one we are solving Game Week 7 dilemmas. So to begin with, Cole Palmer. He just scored 4 goals within one half of football against Brighton. 25 points, absolutely ridiculous from him in Game Week 6. But should we be buying him now? I think the answer is no, and hear me out as to why. So essentially you'll have to get rid of one of your other premiums to do this, right? It's very difficult to move from a cheaper player up to Palmer. So you'll either be getting rid of Saka, Haaland, maybe Salah, whoever it is you'll be getting rid of. It's probably not the best play. Saka has Southampton at home this week, and then he has Bournemouth away, right? 2 good fixtures, whereas Palmer has Nottingham Forest at home, Liverpool away. Haaland and City's fixtures are just incredible from this week onwards. And Palmer's, if you look on screen, so it's Forest at home, not the worst fixture, but also Forest are quite good defensively. Then it's Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United, Arsenal. Now, don't get me wrong, Newcastle and Man United are potentially not that bad of fixtures, especially Man United. Newcastle, if we get the first 5 game weeks of Newcastle, then that's a good fixture. If we get the Newcastle that played against City, then it's more tough. But regardless, these next 5 fixtures are tough for Chelsea. And yes, Palmer is potentially fixture proof, as people like to say, but it doesn't really matter if you're fixture proof or not. We've seen other very, very good players in tougher fixtures struggle. So I think it's always smart to play the fixtures. Don't get me wrong, I think Palmer's good for this week. Nottingham Forest at home isn't a particularly tough fixture for Chelsea, I wouldn't say. So if you've got Palmer, I don't recommend selling him, definitely not. But I don't think I'd be buying Palmer this week. I think you can wait till Game Week 12. The fixtures aren't on screen here, but from Game Week 12 onwards, Chelsea's fixtures are unbelievable. So if you don't have Palmer, just wait a few weeks for Game Week 12. That's probably what I'll be doing, unless I can find some funds somewhere. I've got Bruno Fernandes myself, so if I can find some funds somewhere to get up to Cole Palmer, then potentially that's where I go. But I highly doubt it. I'd wait till Game Week 12 for Cole Palmer. Okay, next up we've got Gvardiol. Should we be buying him? Now, as I mentioned in the section about Cole Palmer, Man City's fixtures are incredible for the next 5. You can see on screen. Fulham at home, Wolves away, Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, Brighton away. All very, very good fixtures. So definitely want Haaland. You definitely want a second City player if you can get one. Gvardiol is probably the best option. Potentially Rico Lewis is a good option. We might want to keep a slot open for Foden if he begins to start. But Gvardiol is one we should definitely be looking at. Now, we've seen earlier in the season that he was not playing this attacking role that he was playing at the end of last season, where Kyle Walker wasn't available. So now that Kyle Walker is available, he's the one that's sitting deep in centre-back, and Gvardiol is pushing into a ridiculously attacking position. He's not even playing as a wide attacking player, because whoever the winger is on that side, whether it be Grealish, whether it be Doku, those wingers are both staying very, very wide. So Gvardiol is pushing forward, but pushing forward more centrally as well. So, and obviously that's where his goal came from in Game Week 6. Grealish was wide, played it into Gvardiol, who was more central, and he could get in the box and get a shot off. So Gvardiol looks very good. I don't think that we'll see Gvardiol playing that role every single game, purely because I don't think we'll see Kyle Walker playing every single game. I think there will be games where Rico Lewis plays right back and inverts, as he's been doing, and then Gvardiol plays left back where he has to sit. I think that will still happen, but I do think that even if half the time that happens, and then half the time Gvardiol is playing this more attacking role, I still think he's great value at 6 million, because even if he is sitting back and playing that defensive role, City have a very, very good chance of keeping a clean sheet in any one of these 5 fixtures. So it's not like you're getting no routes to points, even if he is sitting back. So yeah, and we've seen that Cole Walker, Rico Lewis and Gvardiol can all play at the same time. That's what happened in game week 6. So I think he's well worth 6 million now. I don't think he was at the start of the season, but I think he is now. So I think if you can, I would try and find a way to get Gvardiol on your team. Okay, and so for the 100th time this season, we're going to be talking about Eze and whether we should keep him or whether we should sell him. Now, up to this point, I've said we should keep Eze the whole time. I haven't once said we should sell him. I probably am still going to keep him in my own team. I still think he is a good asset. The fixtures aren't the best, but they're also not that bad. Like, there is a couple difficult ones in there. This week, Liverpool at home isn't the easiest fixture. The other 4 are okay. Forest away, Tottenham at home, Wolves away, Fulham at home. They're not like unbelievable by any means, but they're definitely okay. So I think there is no problem with keeping Eze if you've got other problems and you don't really want to be making the midfield moves, especially if you've already got quite a lot of the other good options. For example, if you don't have Mbeumo, it's much easier to sell Eze because he is definitely a good replacement. He's better than Eze as an asset right now, but Eze is still good. His underlying numbers are very, very good. They have been in the short sample that is this season, but also long term. I have no problems with his numbers. His minutes are great. Penalties are a bit of a problem. I mean, it's probably going to be Mateta that takes the next penalty, but that doesn't mean to say that Eze will never take a penalty again. So I still think he's a good asset, but I do think there is a world where you could sell him and it's fine as well. For example, if you're on wildcard, there'd be quite a high chance that you wouldn't be going with him. So I think it kind of is fine to sell him, and we will talk about some of the best replacements for him. And if you own Bruno, then these replacements fit into that category as well. Okay, we just mentioned him. If you do have a little bit of funds, if you're going from Eze, you do need a little bit of funds now. If you're going from Bruno, then you're fine. But Bryan Mbeumo, just get him in your team. He has everything you want from a fantasy asset. He is nailed for minutes. He is on penalties. His team have fantastic fixtures. And he is just a good cheap price point. And he's playing up front as well. He's pretty much a talisman when they haven't got a striker. So, yeah, get him in your team, basically. If you own Bruno or Eze and you don't own Mbeumo, make that transfer, I'd say. The fixtures are just a joke. You can see the 5 on screen. Wolves at home, very good fixture. Man United away is classed as orange. At the moment, that could potentially be a green fixture, to be honest. Man United are looking terrible. Ipswich at home, a promoted team at home, is as good as it gets. Fulham away, not an unbelievable fixture, but a pretty good one. And then Bournemouth at home. Just such good fixtures for Brentford. I'm tempted myself to double up in attack. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well, because there's a few options. But if you don't own him and you own Bruno or Eze, then I would make the transfer to get Mbeumo now. Okay, a slightly cheaper option now. Brennan Johnson. Now, he has had his struggles with form over kind of last season and the start of this season as well. But the last couple of games, he's played absolutely brilliantly. And he has probably nailed down that spot on the right wing at the moment for Spurs. So he is definitely a good option at 6.4 million. As you can see on the screen, the fixtures are pretty good now as well. They've got Brighton away, West Ham at home, Crystal Palace away, Aston Villa at home and Ipswich at home. The Aston Villa fixture maybe isn't even orange for kind of an attack. Aston Villa defence hasn't looked great this season. Ipswich just put 2 past them. Not sure if they've kept a clean sheet all season actually. But yeah, Brennan Johnson I think is a very good option. We will definitely want to move on to some Spurs assets now that they've got through their bad fixtures. They had that North London derby against Arsenal. We thought that Man United was going to be a bad fixture. But yeah, they've got through them tough ones now. I'm certainly looking at bringing in Solanke for my team. I've already got Porro. And Brennan Johnson could be a nice out from Bruno for me. So he's definitely one I'm looking at. Okay, if you want to save even more funds, then Dwight McNeil, 5.5 million, is another good place to go. Obviously, we've just seen him score 2 goals in game week 6. One of them was an absolute banger as well, which he's quite capable of on a regular basis, not like many other players. So he is definitely a good option. You can see on screen again, the fixtures are just fantastic. The only orange one there is Newcastle at home. But like I say, if we get the Newcastle from game weeks 1 to 5, then that's potentially green, although they've maybe turned a corner now. That match against City, they played very well. So who knows on that one. But Ipswich away, Fulham at home, Southampton away, West Ham away. I've mentioned it loads of times as well. They don't play... Their fixtures are good right up until game week 15. In game week 15, they then go on a run where they play City, Arsenal, Liverpool and Chelsea within 4 weeks. So, but what that does mean is that they don't play any of those teams until game week 15. So you can hold Dwight McNeil for quite a long time. It's the same I've mentioned on previous videos about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. They are definitely the two you want to go with if you're going for Everton attackers. Now, they're very similar price, and it obviously depends on whether you need a midfielder or whether you need a forward, but both of them are good. Both of them you can play in every single fixture every week up until game week 15. So if you need to save some funds, then Dwight McNeil is a fantastic option. Okay, and if you wanted to save even more funds, then Fabio Carvalho is 4.8 million. He has got good minutes in the last 2 games for Brentford. Obviously, when we were talking about Mbeumo, we mentioned how good Brentford's fixtures are. They're on screen now. He is a fantastic budget option because Yoane Wissa, I think the initial thoughts behind how long he was going to be out was around game week 12 at the earliest. So you've definitely got a good few weeks if you go for Fabio Carvalho. The fact that he's 4.8 million is just a bargain as well. It's similar to someone like Dibbling from Southampton. Very, very good. But Carvalho's playing in, well, a better team. So if you can get the 0.3 million to go to Carvalho, then I definitely would. If you need to, again, save some funds, maybe you need to bring in Haaland this week if you don't have him, or if you're looking to buy Palmer, even though the fixtures aren't the best, maybe you still want him, then going down to a Fabio Carvalho to be able to afford it is a good play. So that's all for this one. If you liked it, do make sure you like, do make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.